Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Massive Iron Live. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it. We made it here alive. I did. I hope you did as well. Welcome to Massive Iron Live. It is Friday, April 24th. Almost time for May. Are you ready for May? Are we ready for May? Let's get rolling. Today is shoulder day for me. What's it for you guys? Welcome to Massive Iron Live. I've been here forever. I will be here forever. If I never show up, I'm probably dead. So you can book that in. If I don't show up, just check on me, right? See if I'm rotting in the basement down here in the gym. What's going on, guys? Welcome to Massive Iron Live. I do a live Q&A every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern every week. I think it's the longest running live Q&A in the history of lifting. It might be, it might not be. Some people don't care, but those that do care, I appreciate it, right? So we'll be here every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're new here, please post up your questions. I'm here to help. You can post off-topic stuff as well. Post whatever you want, diet, training, nutrition, supplementation, off-topic. The only thing I don't talk about is PEDs because I really don't give a shit. It's a lifting channel, and I don't really care who's natty or not. Don't care. We're here to lift, right? So before we get started, a couple of housekeeping notes. I see a couple comments about folks posting questions and they get deleted. Just understand that's not me. That is YouTube. Sometimes your questions can be too long and YouTube eats them. Sometimes you can have naughty words in your question or words that YouTube wants to filter for whatever reason. Who knows? And it could eat them. And sometimes YouTube is just silly. So if your question does not go through, you can head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman. Please follow me on Instagram at Ben the Barman. I try to put out a lot of content over there, informational content. And, I'm not putting my booty pictures on Instagram because nobody wants to see that. I'm just trying to put out good information. So if you want good information in between your booty pictures, just follow me on Instagram. So what's going on, guys? We got a lot going on this weekend. We're working on the Mass Forge training app. That's going really, really well. I've been testing that all week, and the last couple of workouts haven't had any bugs. Not to say the app is without bugs, but it's getting really close to coming your way. So keep an eye on that. One other thing. What is this shirt? Who cares, right? Who cares what this sweatshirt is? Who cares? Who cares what you're wearing? This is actually a gift from ABC Trainerize. And I'll give you a quick 10-second overview, maybe a minute overview of what it is, and then we'll dive into questions. I was voted ABC Trainerize. Trainerize is the largest coaching app in the world. They have over 400,000 coaches, online coaches, and personal trainers on that app that use it to work with their clients. And for some reason, they voted me online coach of the year, trainer of the year out of 400,000 people. It was quite the honor. It gets me a little bit emotional thinking about it because I didn't even know I was in a running, right? They kind of sent me an email. I'm like, is somebody trying to scam me? But I actually won online coach of the year. And one of the things that stood out to them is that I messaged my clients 85,000 times last year. 85,000 messages to my clients. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but this is what I do for a living. And if any of you are not working with me, I would love to work with you as far as coaching. It's my passion. It's what I do full time for a living. And any of you that have never had coaching before, please consider it. Just once. It's a 3-month minimum commitment. After the first month, it is only $89.40 a month. And my rates are considered probably the lowest in the industry. Everybody has told me, and this is not a joke, and you might not care, but I'm going to tell you a quick story. Everybody in the coaching world has told me that I charge too little, right? That I message too much. And I get it. I get their concern, right? You charge too little, you message too much. That's probably true. It puts food on my table. This is what I love to do. I love to work with people. If you sign up for coaching, and you can head over to my website, superlivingtoday.com. You can head over there to superlivingtoday.com. There's a coaching tab. You can fill it out just to get more information. Please do. If you're not certain, you want more information, I'm never going to pressure you guys, right? That's not the way I do business. If somebody doesn't want to work with me, I'm not going to pressure them to give me money. But if you are sick and tired of poor results and you want a different coaching experience, a coaching experience where everybody in the industry is telling me I work too much, right, then I'm the coach for you. Most coaches check in once a week via email, and that's their thing, and that's cool. I don't coach that way. I'm with you every single day. I have a spreadsheet. I'll check in every single day. I want to check your workouts, your form videos, your weight, whatever you got going on that day. I'm not going to take up a lot of your time. It doesn't take more than 2 minutes a day. But if you want a personal coaching experience where we build a relationship and we're there every single day, except for weekends, please check it out. I'm doing really well. Coaching has just been incredible, but I do have room for a couple people right now. So please, if you're considering it and you're not sure, you want more information, just check out the coaching tab and fill out the form. All right, let's get on to things, shall we? Should we get on to things? Should we get on to questions? Post your questions. What are you waiting for? There are no dumb questions, just stupid questions and awkward questions. And hey, if you have an awkward question or a stupid question, we're not going to tell you it's awkward or stupid to your face. We're going to walk behind your back and we're going to be like, that was a stupid. No, we didn't do that. Honestly, I've heard questions 1,000 times before, and I've often asked, like, don't you get sick of answering questions? No, I don't, because every year, every day, there's new people coming into our world that have not heard the answers before, have not asked the questions before, and 100%, we have to honor that. We can't insult newbies for being newbies and be all arrogant. I'm sure you've been on some internet forums or watching YouTube fitness or, watching whatever fitness on Instagram. And a newbie asks a question and, somebody puts them down. You ain't going to get that here, right? We're here to help. So let's dive in. Barbell Beauty from Team Massive Iron. All of you, head over to teammassiveiron.com. That's what's called a website. teammassiveiron.com. Legitimately, we have one of the largest and most healthy online lifting communities in the industry, right? Community. No trolls, no religion talk, no politic talks. We're talking religion, right? No people shaking their booties in your butt. If you want that, you can get it wherever you want to, right? But please head over to teammassiveiron.com. Barbell Beauty is an amazing hard worker and one of the cornerstones. I think you won Member of the Month at Team Massive a couple times. Stein, how's it going? Stein's from Team Massive. Paladin's from Team Massive. If someone says, I'm strong but small, would you say it's been a diet issue more than training? There's a lot of this stuff that goes around like, hey, man, so-and-so isn't big, but they're strong. Well, usually this is kind of a perspective issue, to be honest with you. You will see, like, people will say so-and-so powerlifter, natural powerlifter, isn't big, but they are strong. And then you look at their arm size and it's like 16 and a half inches, and they're relatively lean. So I've never seen anybody, honestly, that looks frail that is strong. What do I mean? You ever looked at somebody and you're like, if I sneeze, they'd blow over, right? Just look at someone. Here's kind of the way I frame things. And we're not trying to get all wild here. But if you look at someone, what's the physical intimidation factor? Is that somebody you'd want to fight, or is that somebody you'd be like, nah, we're good? I don't think I want to fight that guy. A lot of times what you're looking at physically, from a physical intimidation standpoint, is a lot of muscle mass, whether you're processing it like that or not. If you see a wet noodle skinny nerd, right, And do we still call people nerds? I don't know. Somebody check the rule book. But if you see somebody like that and you look at them, you're like, you know, you'd be afraid if they got punched in the face, they'd snap in two, right? I've never seen a guy like that strong. So I think a lot of it has to do with perspective. Somebody that has a crappy diet, to your question, and obviously when you say somebody has a subpar diet, there are legitimately a myriad of ways that this person could be eating. They could be eating low protein, inconsistent calories, getting in their calories, but eating crappy nutrition. So we have to establish there's a lot of ways they could be eating poorly, right? But you can build up strength. If you're training, you can build up as a novice, you can build up strength neurologically and then a little bit beyond without being optimal as far as diet. That's just the way the body works. It's going to adapt. I mean, if you eat like crap and you try to practice for a sport, your body's going to acclimate to a degree. But if we're talking about a lot of mass and a lot of strength, you have to really optimize your diet. You have to be proficient with all the little, rough edges on your diet. Does that make sense? Dumbbells and Donuts, a new client of mine from Team Massive. I appreciate the opportunity to work with you, Paladin. What's the highest amount of? About 5,000. I have some clients that can bulk close to 5,000, 4,600, 4,800, close to 5,000. And we're not doing fat bulks, for the record. These guys are, gaining normally 2, maybe 2.5 pounds a month. There are some freaks out there. Look, we like to boil down calorie intake into some equivalent math formula. And I'm not saying it's not calories in, calories out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that at all. But you can have two guys that are seemingly evil. Seemingly evil. You can have two lifters that are seemingly even. Maybe they're the same age. Maybe they have the same steps a day, give or take. Maybe they look alike body fat percentage-wise. You can have two guys, and there can be a wide variance of calorie intake. Let's say I have two guys, 6 foot tall, 210 pounds, 20% body fat. Both of them are intermediate lifters. Both of them have they look about the same. One guy could be bulking at 4,800 and gain 2 pounds a month. One guy could be bulking at 3,200 and gaining 2 pounds a month. Now, I'm not trying to get all controversial, and I'm not trying to dump something heavy on you guys. But I will tell you, in the world of coaching, that is what you see. You can see people that look equivalent, have the equivalent body fat percentage, have the equivalent lifts and physique and muscle mass and steps per day, and there's no hidden whatever. And you can have a variance of 1,500 calories a day. Why? Because while calorie intake matters for that individual, there's a lot of variance person to person. Does that make sense? Unless you're a woman, then you're in trouble. Pretty much. Women have a hard road. They really, really do. Unless they're super active. Wow. They have a harder road. It's very rare where I see a woman that can cut weight under 1,800 calories a day. Very, very rare. Yvonne from Team Massive. What's going on, Yvonne? Barbell Bryce from Team Massive. Let's go. Thank you for showing up. Use my slingshot. Barbell Beauty got a bench press slingshot. If you guys haven't checked that out, that's Mark Bell's product. I have no affiliation. For the first time yesterday on Close Grip Bench, and it was awesome. Any tips for getting the most out of it? Well, when you put on a slingshot, you want to give it like 2 or 3 weeks to adjust because it can feel a little bit weird at first. But you usually adjust really, really quickly. That's a good thing about it. The only thing I will say is if you're using it because you have some form of shoulder stress. Give it some time. Don't take it on and off. If you're using it just as a experimental tool, I would use it every other week on a lift or every other lift. The big thing is if you're using a slingshot for a long period of time, do not just take it off and try to go heavy. Give yourself 3 or 4 weeks to kind of go more moderate on weight and climb back up. Because anytime you're using lift support, it isn't inherently bad. If you're using a bench press slingshot, wrist wraps, knee wraps, elbow sleeves, whatever, if you're using that for a long period of time, the body is going to adapt and get stronger using that equipment in that lane. And when you take that off, your body's going to have to reacclimate a little bit. Little things are dialed down, a little bit of connective tissue, tendons, whatever. So to reduce injury risk when you take that stuff off, when you get completely away from it, you have to kind of give yourself 2, 3, 4 weeks to kind of dial back up. Does that make sense? Dumbbells and donuts. If anyone is on the fence about hiring Steve as a coach, act now. Thank you, sir. Only wish I'd done it sooner. Thank you. Awesome interactions. It's evident he truly cares. Thank you. I appreciate that. And again, if you just want to explore coaching, I'm trying to fill in a couple of the gaps. So I have a couple of spots. You can check out superlivingtoday.com. There is no pressure. You're not going to get any pressure from me. In fact, I tell people, if you don't feel comfortable working with me, please don't sign up. I'm not here to pressure you. But look, if you're tired of results, let's get going, man. Let's get going. 89.40 after the first month, right? Let's get something done. I've been doing this my whole life. I've developed systems and pillars of success in a whole workout universe. And that's something I'm super proud of. You know, I don't know, like growing up, I grew up in the Weider era, right? Of Muscle and Fitness. Sorry, I got an itch. And he had created Weider had created his whole principles of success and Weider principles, right? And I didn't set out to create like a whole universe of workouts and pillars of success and structures and principles and unique names. But along the way, it's kind of been like gaming for me and developing my own world, like world building. You know, everything in my world is like we're building our own world, our own form of communication. It's not that we're inherently better than anyone else, right? It's not that my system is inherently better than anyone else's. But I have developed a whole set of workout programs and ways to progress and ways to think about lifting that is its own universe. And I like that. I'm proud of that. That's my life's work. And I'm not going to sit on the tall mountain and say I'm better than anybody else. But I'm happy because I have my own system, my own form of communication. I don't have to refer to somebody else's stuff. Anyway, if you are on the fence and you need help, let's go. We got some time before summer. For those of you in America, we got some time before July 4th. Sign up today. Let's get going. I'll onboard you next week. Superlivingtoday.com or DM me on Instagram at Ben the Barman. Oh, and if you're watching this in 2024, right, unless you're watching it from the future, and still haven't joined Team Massive, give yourself a slap. Come join the party. We all float down here. Thank you, sir. Eric, the Beard of Redness, our favorite vegan from Team Massive, who just filled his fridge with beef. One of the oddest vegans you'll ever meet, but you have to meet Eric yourself to figure that out. He's a complex person. He knows like Kung Fu. Eric's very involved with the martial arts, and he's been on Team Massive forever. Drinking a white Monster. I don't have Monsters today, so I'm drinking a Diet Mountain Dew with ice. This glass literally weighs about 10 pounds. You can curl this glass and get gains. I can't even begin to express how heavy this glass is. Ready? I'm going to put it down. Listen. All right. Cosmic Bear, one of two. In many of your programs, I've noticed that other than deadlifts, you don't program lower than 8 reps for big compound movements. Not true. I'll get to that. I remember in a Q&A you said, Guy, have to learn to progress with higher reps. Not true at all. Most of my clients start with the 3s protocol for the big lifts: squats, bench, deads, overheads. The 3s protocol, and I'm going to dive into this a little bit. The first set, you generally are working between 5 to 7 reps, okay? The 3s protocol, your first working set is between 5 to 7 reps. My most powerful, my most productive, my most potent, my most popular workout system is power muscle burn, power muscle block, power muscle bulldozer. There's 3 iterations. The first 2 to 3 sets of that are 4 to 6 rep range. Okay, so most of my lifters, most people that come to me, work between 4 to 6 or 5 to 7 for the big lifts on the top set, depending on the program. And then the 3s protocol, then we back down weight 10% for the second set and back down weight 10% for the third set. So I'm just presenting this so folks watching understand, that it's not necessarily the case. My clients do have work under 8 reps. We just don't go overboard with it. You want a little bit of slice of that. Then you want to bring up your rep range and get in some volume work beyond that. So one of the pillars that I've always been taught, and one of the pillars that I've always followed, and one of the constant in most of my workouts is you're going to have some lower-ish rep work for heavy compound movements, but we don't dive into 5 and under, or under 5 generally. Power muscle burn, power muscle block, power muscle bulldozers, 4 to 6 on the heavy lifts. And then for your average compound movement, dumbbell bench, whatever, we usually work within the 8 to 12 rep range. Most of my clients are very familiar with that. And then when you do isolations, the rep ranges are based on the specific exercise, right? So what makes sense for that exercise from a hypertrophy standpoint? We don't want to be doing 5 rep sets on side lateral raises because that doesn't make sense. So I really like this rep range for big compounds. We're wondering why you don't program. And I hope that helps some. You don't really want to go lower than 5 reps. There's just not a lot of value. But I hope that helps some. I actually do most of my workouts actually have some of that stuff in it. You guys can head over to the main page of YouTube. Please do this because this PDF is free on video. Search progression. And I go over all my progression methods. And I probably need to update it because I have new ones. You can also go to my website, superlivingtoday.com, and search progression. And there's a PDF you can download. And I believe it's only $4.99 if you want a handy-dandy reference point and you want to support me. But it does show all the progression tools, 3s, etc. And again, it is free on this channel. If you go to the main page, go to the search button and search progression. Big Billy Baker, what's going on, Bill? Seen you on Instagram, but not on Team Massive. We need more Bill Baker over on Team Massive. Don't be shy, Bill. What are your favorite heavy progression tricep exercises, including close grips and dips? Excluding. This year, within the last year, I've really fallen in love with JM press. I have a seated triceps push-down machine. You're like, is that a heavy tricep? Man, I am up to 230 pounds on that bad boy for 20 rep sets. I love that thing. If you have a home gym and you have a few extra, whatever, and Father's Day is coming up or your birthday is coming up, Titan Fitness, this is the one I have, and I don't know about other people, so I'm just recommending Titan because it's the one I have, has a seated press-down machine. I have 230 pounds loaded on that sucker right now, and I'm doing it for 20 rep sets. And man, I can feel it. The combination of heavy weight and reps. I love it. Absolutely love it. So some gyms have the seated press down machine. I would do that bad boy for volume, 12 to 20 reps. I like to do the JM press. JM press is not arms flared, okay? It's not arms tucked. It's just elbows natural, elbows just a little bit in. You lower the weight towards your neck. The goal is not how low you can get it towards your neck, but you lower it towards your neck and then press it back up. Lower it towards your neck, press it back up. And again, we're not out like this. We're not like a bench. It's a little bit more tucked and just like that. Let your elbows flow freely. And you can make a dance gif from this if you want. If you're on Team Massive, go ahead. What's the biggest form mistake you see with Bulgarian split squats? Bulgarian split squats or lunges are going to have the same form issue, okay? And it's how you think about them. You have one foot, one leg forward, and one leg back. I want you guys to remember this because this is how you perform a Bulgarian split squat and a lunge. You lower the rear knee, and then you push up with the front knee. Some people, when they descend, they'll put weight on the front knee as they try to descend because they think they have to put stress on the front foot, front leg as they descend. So they'll put their weight on the front foot, front leg as they descend, and that'll put some weird stress on the knees. When you do a Bulgarian or a lunge, you lower the rear. On a lunge, you step out, lower the rear knee, then push up with the front knee. Or push up with the front foot. Does that make sense? On a Bulgarian, you lower the rear knee and push up with the front foot. Does that make sense? They're pretty simple exercises, but you just have to remember that. Big Joe B. Good morning, Team Massive. Big Joe B. I was informed yesterday that post-back surgery, I can do no lifting. We're all crying that single tear for you, man. That's a rough thing to hear. If you love lifting and doc says don't lift, you're like, oh, here we go. Twisting or driving, Joe. That also means no adult relationships with lifting, twisting, or driving, Joe. Be very safe in all aspects of recovery. Bad humor. Any thoughts on resuming lifting after this timeline? You're just going to have to ease into things, my friend. After any long-term injury where you've been away from the gym for probably more than 4 to 6 weeks, you're going to have to start with the bare minimum. That's what I did last year. It took me about 6 to 8 weeks to get back up to full speed. During that time, you're going to regain your muscle mass because of muscle memory, and you'll be fine. So just don't try to rush it. We don't need to get you into it. Big Joe B. I was informed. Oh, we did that one already. It was just a double. Big John Paul. Very new to pullovers. I did the seated machine one. Yep, like the old one Dorian Yates used to do. I actually like that machine, and I feel it's super underrated. Any difference between the dumbbell pullover on bench? Despite all the hype and hoopla, right? That's a word we don't use every day. And madness on the internet, you can definitely work your lats. It's all about feel. I can feel my lats doing that right now. Now, one thing you can do as well, okay, and this is not something I've ever given to a client, but something I would like to try myself. Set a bench like this, okay, 30 degrees, whatever. Your back, your head towards the cable station. So you got the bench, okay, and you're laying like that. Your head's right here. The cable station's over here, okay? You lower the thing down the cable station so it's above your noodle, above that big fat watermelon head, that ugly thing you have on your shoulders that scares people when you go out in public. Now, you grab it, the cable, because you're laying on a bench, your big fat watermelon head's right here, and the cable station's right here, and you're grabbing it right here. You pull over, Okay. Pull over. You can do this at a commercial gym. Never seen it done at a commercial gym. The feel, like on a lat pull down, you have to kind of stand back and, it's kind of the same deal as a face pull. You have your body is kind of counterweighting that weight, so to speak. So you're pulling down. On a bench, you're rooted, right? So you can do a cable pullover with like ropes. But what you're doing is you're doing the same pullover action you do in a lat prayer or a pullover machine or a dumbbell pullover. The beautiful thing about this is you don't have to get a big, heavy dumbbell into place, which can be awkward when you're doing it on a bench. Now, I've been researching this lift a lot, and I've not tried it. Because every now and then you see a new lift come across your stream and you're like, 99% of influencer lifts are just, dumb. Let's be honest. But I saw this thing and I immediately said, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Whoever thought this up, A+. I've never seen it before in my 38 years of lifting. So I'm glad you brought up the pullover, because I would try that if you have the capabilities. If not, do the dumbbell pullover. I would try to do it for reps. Don't try to go too low. Get in some volume. Maybe 10, maybe 12. Or if you'd like. You are going to feel your triceps work during pullover motions. The triceps, the long head of the triceps ties in down here and ties in up here. So it is involved in shoulder rotation and elbow movements, elbow rotation. So elbow extension, the long head of the triceps is involved, and shoulder rotation. So when you're doing the rotation part of a pullover, you are going to work the long head of the triceps and you're going to get some tricep soreness. Be aware of that. The main reason I bring that up is because you don't want to really work your triceps or pressing the day after doing a pullover movement. The pullover, even though it can be lat focused, and even though some people use it for chest expansion or rib expansion, I don't really know if it works for that. Some people use it for that, but wherever you're using it for, wherever you're positioning that in your workout, just make sure you generally don't have a press day the next day. It works well on frequency training, when worked with chest and back on the same day. And you can do it on a body part split on back. You can even toss on chest. Just make sure you're not pressing the next day. Big Joe B. When was the last time you took an extended vacation? Free of work or I haven't taken a vacation free of client work since 2017, maybe. I went to Australia with my wife, but I would get up at 4 a.m. and do client work for 4 hours a day. Back then, I only had about a third of my client load. I went to Scotland right before the pandemic hit, and about the same thing. I had about half of my client load back then, so I would get up at 4 a.m., do my clients, and then we would head out for the day. Cosmic Bear. I've typed this question at least 5 times and it disappears. Sorry. Can you use low bar squats to build quads? Absolutely. I just like it better. Yes. The only thing I want you to make sure is that your form looks good. Have your form checked, because there are a lot of guys out there that will do the wide stance, the low bar, they're folding, they're not getting a lot of quad stress. So it's not just about high bar, low bar. It's about limb lengths and leverages and how your form is dialed in as well. If you were a character in Fight Club, who would you be? Dude, I haven't watched Fight Club in like 20 years. I don't even remember anybody. I know Brad Pitt's in it. And what's the other dude? Right? I don't know any of the characters, man. The last fight movie I watched was Roadhouse. Right? And it was kind of a, I can see people like, it's a lame movie, but there was a lot of good action in that movie. It was all right. Carlton, good morning from the road. Carlton's a client of mine. Thanks for tuning in. Big Jonathan. Happy Freitag, Stephen T. Massive. I was on a roll with my bulk and lifting, but have to take the coming week off due to vacation. Dude, you are going on vacation. That word maintenance doesn't exist on vacation. Vacation, I'm going to give you a formula. Vacation equals fun. You hear me? Vacation equals no tracky calories. Vacation can mean, depending on the individual, alcohol. Vacation equals no tracky wacky. Okay? Don't worry about it. Have fun, man. Take a mental and physical break. Go hang that noodle and run around like crazy. Do whatever you're going to do, right? I'm at pool noodle. Well, I got you guys. You guys thought I was being perverted. Go hang that pool noodle and go do what you're going to do. Go have fun. Honestly, there are times in life where we need to break, right? Like, don't think about bulk, don't think about cut, don't think about maintenance. Go have fun. A lot of people move more on vacation, so they, even though they're pounding alcohol, eating more food, they tend to eat less frequently because they're more active. They tend to walk more. So what you'll often find is that unless you're on a cruise where you're just like buffeting yourself to death, you probably will come back pretty reasonable. So just enjoy yourself. If you gain a little bit of water weight, just get back into your normal bulking routine when you're done, and that extra water weight will flush off. And we want to report dumbbells and donuts. Do you think some body weight only movements can? Yeah, absolutely. Do some body weight movements. We're forced not to train in a week where you're forced. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of my clients, when they can't train, we do body weight movements. And don't overthink this. Like, if you're taking a week away and you want, like, work takes you away for a week or whatever, maybe you got to go visit Graham because she's not feeling too well. You got to go cross country or whatever the case is, right? Going to visit your parents, to beg for money because you're lazy and not using that college degree, whatever you're doing, right? We got to think of this in terms of not just muscle, but taking care of the body. So that's the baseline. Let's take care of the body. You want to get some exercise in. You want to get some pushbacks, wall rows, push-ups, pause jump squats, lunges, Bulgarian split squats, dips between chairs, grabbing a heavy item like a large alcoholic drink and curling it, whatever. Just humor, folks. You know what I mean, though. All right. We have been going for 40 minutes, guys. Keep the questions coming. I'll stay on as long as you guys got questions, or as long as you guys can tolerate my bad humor. 89 Charlo, big, hairy, ugly dude for president. If I was elected president, I would allow a gym membership for free for anybody that wanted to lift. Instead of our money going over to Ukraine, I won't get all political, but I'm telling you right now, instead of our money going over to Ukraine, we give everybody a free gym membership. All right, you want it? That's a better use of communal money, right? At least it's a step forward. If I was elected president, what would I do? I'd apply a fat tax. You are now going to pay health insurance premiums according to your actuarial damage, right? Like, if you're a bad driver, you got to pay a bigger car insurance premium. If you're going to eat yourself into morbid obesity, hey, we love you. but you're going to have to pay a higher premium on your own life insurance and health insurance. You do on your life insurance. Why wouldn't you on your health insurance? If elected president, that's what I do. That's it. And then I'd also allow veterans off on Veterans Day. Done deal. Good morning. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. McBean, Scottish Fitness. We got the Scottish crew tuning in today. Good morning, cousin at Carlton McBean. All the McBeans are here. MacBean and McBean. Hello from Central Illinois. I did shoulders yesterday. Nice work. That's very strong. Not many people get above 200. Big Justin Jones. Good morning, big hair, ugly dude, and Team Massive. Should someone go on a cut with an injury? Yes, that's a good time to go on a cut because you're not going to be productive with muscle building. So obviously, a bulk is out of the equation. And maintenance you can maintain if you want, but when you have an injury, that's one of the best times, unless it's something that needs more food. You have to use common sense, but that's a really good time to go on a cut. Joe B, nice sweater. Thank you. All black today. Big Keenan. Hello to Steve. Let's learn some new stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Congratulations. Thank you, sir. Well deserved, and thank you. Don't forget to drop your weights on the like button, people. Thank you. I appreciate that. The more you guys watch of this video, the better. It's a live video, so the more time you guys invest, the better YouTube likes me. And I appreciate you guys watching. Let's learn something. Let's improve our results, right? And thank you, sir. Would you list? Greetings from Scotland. Thank you, sir. The big hairy ugly dude got me a lot stronger than I was. You're one of my favorite people in the whole world. And I'm not just saying that, man. It's an honor to work with you. And let's just keep going. You've been on a roll. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's right. Should we incorporate isometrics into our training? If so, by how much? Not for hypertrophy. I'm not against any form of exercise or physical pursuit, but when it comes to hypertrophy, we only have so many hours in the week, right? Let's use that time for conventional productive hypertrophy training. And then if you want to add isometrics outside of that realm, for whatever reason, go right ahead. There's no downside. Dumbbells and donuts trying to get all up in my business. I don't share business information, my friend. I don't. How many clients do you typically have on board? I don't typically share business information. I will say that I start my client work about 10 a.m. every day, and I usually finish at 6 o'clock. Sometimes 5 o'clock. Monday is my busiest day because I take off on the weekend, so sometimes I work till 8. But I'm also doing Team Massive in the morning, creating video content, working on the Mass Forge app, and I also have other things I'm working on as well. My wife is going to be stepping out online with her own business. My wife has an incredible amount of talent when it comes to fashion design and being a seamstress. But what she is going to do is she is going to do fashion audits for women. And this is a pretty cool thing. My wife can look at something and say, you need this kind of dress, you need this kind of thing, you need that thing over here, you need this thing over here, you need to stop buying that, you need to buy a dress size. Like she can do that. And she can take any woman and tell them exactly what to wear and what not to wear to accentuate where they're at. At any size. My wife is incredibly, incredibly talented. She's an artiste when it comes to that. So she's actually going to be starting a service and a community on her own where it's going to be called Fashion by Fiona, where women can pay for fashion audits. And she'll do a video overview of the pictures you send her or videos you send her. So Anyway, I've been helping her with that as well. I work about 70 hours a week total, and I get plenty of time off. I get the off on the. I work till about noon Saturday and Sundays, and I get the whole days off to recharge and refresh. When I'm done at night, what do I do when I get done with work at 7 o'clock? I usually am educating myself with business books, trying to become better at customer service, trying to become more efficient at running a business. There's a lot of things you can learn. How to streamline, things, how to improve communication, how to improve retention. Like, I'm not just trying to improve client retention for the sake of improving client retention. This is all about results. So if I'm helping people yield, get better results, they're going to stay on longer, right? And it's a win-win for everybody. So I spend a lot of time. My wife usually gets home about 10 o'clock at night because she does a lot of dance classes. I spend a lot of time doing that. And then lately, I'll sit down for an hour of basketball, watching NBA playoffs, or maybe the NBA, MLB or soccer. So I usually get an hour of that in each night before the wife gets home. So I know to some people it seems I'm overextended, but my day is so locked in that I make time for everything. I really do. I don't waste hours watching mindless TV. I don't waste hours playing video games. No offense to anybody who plays video games. I just have my day structured so I can get everything in. Carlton, thank you, sir. Big Stephen Bush, thanks for tuning in. I said congratulations. Thank you, Carlton. I appreciate that. Carl, hey, what's going on, Carl? Big Brian Stegall. I'm big, but relatively weak compared to my size. Well, let me help. Let us help. Come join Team Massive. It's only $4.99 a month. Come join. Cancel Hulu, Vudu, Netflix, all those micro subscriptions you have, and come invest $4.99 a month into gains at teammassiveiron.com. But yeah, I'd love to help. Anything I can do to help, man. Look, I answer every question for free on Instagram. I'd love to have you guys on Team Massive Iron. I'd love to have you guys on clients, but I want you guys to always know I'm bigger than that, right? I've always found as a business model that if I just help everyone, that it puts food on the table one way or the other. And that's a good system for me. So I'm just keep doing it. People think I'm stronger than I am. Let's get you stronger than people think. Any advice for someone whose pituitary gland is gone? Man, no, that's way out of my lane. I don't want to be dismissive, but all I know, and I want you guys to hear this regardless of your situation, we can only focus on what we can control. You can control your nutrition, whatever it is you eat. You can control the effort in the gym. You can control when you go to sleep. You can control the supplements you take. You can control the people you date. You can control so many things in life. Focus on what you can control. If you do that, it'll take you to amazing places. Big Keenan, I got an appetite only a brown bear can complete. Not happy with it. Sounds like you need to eat more cheese, Mr. Brown Bear. Anthony, just want to come on and say thank you for everything you do. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Anybody that takes the time to do such a thing. What's a good rep amount to shoot for on pull-ups? If you can do 3 sets of 8 fully extended, right? Elbow fully extended, then you could consider adding 10 pounds. 3 to 8, 3 to 12. Make sure they're controlled and fully extended, not sloppy and destroying your biceps. A lot of people, when it goes to adding weight on the pull-up, they jump right into, I'm going to add 25, 45 pounds because Alex Leonidas does so. So I'm going to add big weight. Microload, guys. Load sanely. Wrecked. Long-time viewer, thank you. First-time caller. Well played. Bench press by excessive body weight. Bench pressed my excessive body weight for the first time yesterday. Well done. After 2 years of grinding, inspired by your real-world, no-nonsense advice. Thank you, sir. Thank you. That really means a lot. It does. And congratulations. Big Josh Megaroids. What's going on, Josh? What is the minimum weekly volume per muscle you would recommend on a cut? We don't really train differently on a cut. So for the major muscle groups, 10 to 12, minor muscle groups, 6 to 9-ish. If on a cut, if your energy is a little bit lower, we can dial down to like 8 to 9 sets for major body part, 6 sets for minor body part. So I hope that helps some. Big Zach Barker. I've been doing a bro split for a year now. Don't tell anybody, Zach. I wanted to move to your push-pull arms, legs, and do the big bench method in the program. What do you think of that? Absolutely. Absolutely. I think on the push-pull arms, legs, why this is a smart way to approach things is you can take the triceps out of push and you can put it in arms day. You can take the even side laterals or isolations out of push day and move them to arms day. You could take the rear delts or shruggies out of pull day and move them to arms day if you want. So there's some flexibility in that program to kind of turn the arms day into a junk day. So I think that's a good way to do things. You can also do a bench day on push. And when you get to arms day, because it's a few days later, you can do another bench variation. Even though it's an arms day, you could do close grip bench or another bench variation. Big Josh Megaroids. Your take on if someone were to bulk to a certain weight, at what goal weight they are able to gain lots of strength without gaining any more weight, should one just milk out the progress? This is an interesting question and something I've come across before. So let me set the table for you guys that are listening so we can understand the nuance. If someone was bulking to a certain weight, they are able to gain lots of strength. Let's say somebody sets the goal. We're going to use any arbitrary number. The number doesn't matter, but in this case, we're going to set 200 pounds. So let's say Big Josh Megaroids wants to bulk to 200. So Josh bulks to 200, and he decides to maintain for a while because he looks glorious, and he doesn't want to do a cut yet, but he finds he's still gaining strength. Right? Now, this can happen for a number of reasons. Every lift is different, right? So maybe your overhead was behind on your bench and you're continuing to gain overhead strength because you really brought up your triceps during that bulk. And now your triceps are so glorious that you move to maintenance and you're still bringing up weight on your overhead or whatever the case is. There's a million variables in lifting. Should one just milk out progress? Now, there's a lot of nuance to this question. If someone was a power lifter and wanted to be tethered to a specific weight, and they had reasonable quality strength, right? Intermediate strength. Then, and this is a nuanced question, so the answers can vary per person. Then I would probably consider getting all the strength out of that weight you could. Then maybe doing a 10-pound cut and then bulking back into that weight. If you are trying to build muscles, I would say cut and return back up the river because that strength and those calories are going to work in concert to help build muscle, that progressive overload. I would just maybe continue to bulk. That's an option. Because look, what's the worst thing we're going to do when we're rolling and we're packing on strength and things are rolling. What's rule number one when things are rolling? If you got a stone that's rolling downhill and it's just rocking, why would you stop it? Okay, I'm not speaking at Josh, I'm speaking in general. Why would you stop it? Let's say you set a bulk cap at 200 pounds or 180 or wherever, and you hit that, but you're rocking. Okay. And if your weight is reasonable, there's no reason to stop bulking because you're going to gain 2 to 2.5 pounds a month. Let's say you set that goal to stop bulking at 200, but you're rolling, man. You're rocking. Strength is coming, and with it, muscle. Bulk another 2 months. Get up to 205. You're still only 5 pounds away from where you were, and you're still rolling, and you're adding in extra calories to facilitate that strength increase, and everything's glorious. Crom is smiling upon you, and everything is rolling. What's the worst thing that can happen? You could bulk for another 4 months and get to 210, and things could just be rolling. You're gaining muscle, you're gaining strength, because while everybody out there is trying to struggle and unlock, I will tell you guys, when you hit a groove that is greased, when that stone is rolling downhill, don't stop the stone. Bulk for 8 more months. Gain 20 pounds. Get up to 220 pounds. As long as your weight's reasonable, once you gain that mass and that strength, and your weight's still within a reasonable range, meaning you're not looking like a land whale, right? Then don't stop it. Don't stop it. Amir, how to fix uneven overhead press? That's pretty normal. Amir, most people have one side stronger and bigger than the other. And when you are starting out, when you are more of a beginner, you tend to notice this more than at other times. I have clients like this. One of my strongest and most badass clients, Harut, who is going to be reaching pretty close to his natty potential this year. And he started as a skinny, fat dude, and you can ask him. That's no insult. He has a bench that's uneven, and I told him, I said, trust the process. We're going to get everything stronger with barbell and dumbbell exercises. You might still have a little bit of a tilt. You might still have one side that's a little bit uneven, but that's okay. Because I've been lifting for 38 years. My right side is still a half inch bigger, and it's still 2 reps stronger on dumbbell rows. Generally, that gap is not, if you're starting here, right, one side's bigger and stronger, and you're relatively weak, you're going to notice that tilt, that weakness, that difference more when you start. But as you get super strong and big, the difference between those sides is going to become more and more trivial, even though it's going to exist. Big Justin Jones. Got a PR in bodyweight this morning. Nice work. But -1 on top bench. Presses more than anything when you're losing weight will suffer. Don't panic, my man. Use that as motivation to get the cut over with. Should I expect to get that rep during my cut? You could. But there's no answer to that. The only thing I can say is whenever we're cutting, presses suffer more than anything else. So just use that as motivation to get the cut over. Big Justin Jones. By body weight, I mean weight gain. I got you, buddy. Blaine. When bulking, I notice a lot of lifts are stronger the fatter I am. That's right. How do you differentiate between strength gains through the fat and here's where I'm going to correct you, my friend. You are not stronger because you're fatter. You're gaining strength because you're in a calorie surplus. You have more glycogen, you have more electrolytes, you have more raw materials, you're able to recover more quickly. That's the magic of a calorie surplus. And in that, because you're training hard, you're building muscle. You're recovering more quickly. So it's not that your fat is helping you get stronger. The process we want, the bulking process, is helping you get stronger and bigger. That's what we want. Does that make sense? Thank you, Steve. You're the best coach. Thank you. There's no differentiating, right? Now, you can overeat, and I did this. If you want to aggressively eat with the end goal of getting as strong as possible, and you don't care how big you are, then all this extra food is just going to kind of turn you into a strength building machine. Of course, the downside is you're going to eat yourself into bad health. If you have a PED user / abuser, and we're not going to get into what is a user or abuser, and they're taking all kinds of stuff. They're taking Tren and HGH and all kinds of stuff, and it's hard for them to gain fat. And they can eat more calories, whether they're a strong man or power lifter, and they're piling in the HGH, piling in the Tren, piling in the deck, or whatever they're doing. And it's harder for them to get fat. And they can eat a lot more. It's going to be a lot easier to get strong. You know what I'm saying? So when you see these guys that are power lifters that stay relatively lean, hey, they're not gaining a lot of weight, but they're getting a lot stronger. That means me as a natural can do the same thing. They're playing a different game, my friend. There are a lot of lifters out there that are taking a lot of borderline abusive chemicals, and you need to understand that. Does that make sense? So as a natural, you can eat yourself up the strength ladder, but all you're doing is creeping in on the grave. So there's no real difference between strength gains due to fat. It's a slight bulk, it's building muscle, and it's a calorie surplus, and that's the exact process we want. Keenan, thumbs up. Thank you, sir. Nemesis. Love the videos. I have a question. The first day in the gym, I hit 95 pounds for 10. And I managed to hit 225 for 2 months after 5 months. I'm assuming we're talking about bench. That would be you'd be very much an outlier. Could be squats. I'd probably call you an outlier as well. How long would it take to hit the big three? I would say within a year. Somebody like you has that potential. Look at who's here. Damian Paul. Good to see you, my friend. Day 1, chest and back. Day 2, arms and shoulders. Day 3, legs. If you were on a split like this, how would you set it up? The first thing I would look at would be rest. Okay, so how do we want to structure this, and how do we want to rest? We have competing days. We can do chest and back one day, and we could do arms the next. That'd be fine. So doing chest and back one day and then arms the next is perfectly fine. We're doing major body parts and then minor body parts. So that would be okay. We also have 2 pushing workouts back to back. We have chest and we have shoulders, so there's some interference. I don't like to enter shoulders with weakened front delts from chest, from benching, weakened triceps from benching, etc. I don't like to do overhead press with weakened biceps. Back is also working your traps when you're doing rows, indirectly, directly. Overhead pressing involves your traps as well, just a different movement pattern. So we have a lot of interference when it comes to the shoulders. We might have fatigue traps, triceps, biceps, front delts, side delts, all kinds of things. For this reason, we have to decide how we want to rest. We can do day 1 rest. That's a possibility. Day 1, chest and back rest. Day 2, or this would actually be day 3, arms and shoulders. Day 4, legs. And then you could rest, or you could immediately repeat the cycle. I would probably rest because you have legs and then back. If you're deadlifting on back day, I would probably rest after leg day. If you're not deadlifting on day one, then you could just do a 4-day cycle. If you are deadlifting, then I would probably do it on a 5-day cycle. So I would do 3 of these workouts over the course of 5 days. Chest and back, rest. Arms and shoulders, legs, rest. I think that's reasonable. Now, you could also do chest and back if you weren't, like you could do chest and back and then day 2 legs. If you deadlifted the day before squats, it wouldn't be the worst thing. It wouldn't be the funnest thing, but there'd really be no issues. So you could literally do chest and back, legs, arms and shoulders, and then rest. And you could do a 3-day split. Either way would work. Big Justin Jones. Update -1 on bench with +2. Nice. We'll take that. Well done. It's funny how the body works. You can stink at your first pressing exercise and then hit your second. I'm going to get a drink here. Hold on a second, guys. Chest day before shoulder day or shoulder day before chest day? Neither. And I think I just covered that a little bit in Damien's question. I don't like any of them stacked back to back. I can't call you Big Shelly Turner because you're not big, but you're like a superhero. Superhero Shelly Turner from Team Massive. Good morning. I can tell it's Friday because live is on. Guys are pumping arms and girls are pumping glutes. It's funny. I just had that picture in my head in your local gym, but I can see it. We got to get those arms ready for the weekend, right? The big cat, Ernie Peterson. What's going on? If you could trade one player from your favorite basketball team, trade one player, whom would you trade for? Whom would you train for whom? Trade? I don't know, man. That's a tough question. I'm a Bucks fan. You got Damian Lillard. And look, I'm a big fan of Doncic, right? Big fan. Philly's got some players too. Mackey. I don't know. I don't know if we could swing a train with Lillard. I like Lopez on the Bucks. He's a fun player. Lillard, I think, would be the expendable one, but I don't know who I'd trade him for. Can you clarify the progression indicator on the 10-minute deadlift block? For those watching the 10-minute deadlift block, basically it's rest pause. You do a single or double, you release the bar, catch your breath. When you feel physically and mentally ready to go again, you do another single or double, depending on how you feel in that moment. So you repeat this pattern over a 10-minute block. And if any of you guys need more information on this, because I'm giving it a cursory overview really quickly, hit me up on DM and Instagram. I've been the barman, and I'll send you the information for free. I'm not trying to shill or sell you crap. When you get to 14 or more reps, then you move up 5 pounds the next time you do it. Sam, I liked your video on how we are not at a plateau. It just takes time. However, should you be adding a rep on isolation? No, isolations are very hard to add reps on. I saw a post by Sean Nalawani this week or last week on Instagram, which I disagreed with. And it's the first time I've ever disagreed with Sean. And I respectfully disagree because there's some things I say that Sean probably doesn't agree with either. But Sean and I are cut from the same cloth in many ways, and I respect Sean. But Sean was talking about the side lateral raise and how basically you should expect progression. I'm only doing 35 pounds on the side lateral raise after 38 years. It's not a lift you're going to progress a lot on. It's just not, unless you turn it into a pseudo compound movement where you're cheating. Isolation exercises. Now, we can't group them all into the same pool. A biceps curl is more of an isolation exercise. Every lift is to a degree a compound movement. I mean, you can't do a curl without to a micro level involving the front delts, because you're going to get a little bit of elbow rotation as you curl up. And your forearms are going to work. And, nothing's truly an isolation exercise, but on things like the curl, there's plenty of room for progression. On a pec deck, there's usually plenty of room for progression. On a dumbbell fly, no. On a cable crossover, no. On a side lateral raise, not really. So isolation exercise, depending on the nature, are going to be slower. Does that make sense? Love the videos. I have a question. First day at the gym, I hit 95 by 10 on the bench. Oh, we got that already. Sorry, that's a repeater. Because weight gain is gradual on a slow bulk, let's say you're taking time to progress, how do you still know you're in a surplus? If weight gain is gradual and you're gaining 2 to 2.5 pounds a month, you're in a surplus. That's as easy as it gets. We have to monitor weight at least 2 times a week. Thanks, Josh. I'm glad it was helpful. If you're on a roll, man, just get that size. Big Chris Jackson. I'm late to the party, but I'm here for a good time. Glad to hear it. Guys, we have about 7 questions left. So please, if you have any more questions, post them up now. This is a final call. This will take me probably about 15 minutes. So get your questions in now. How many 10-pound bulks and cuts would an intermediate male trainee do per year? When someone is starting out, we tend to ease them into the bulking and cutting pool by doing a 10-pound bulk and then a 10-pound cut. Many people new to lean bulking fear aggressively bulking. So it's a better idea to start them in the narrow end of the pool, doing a 10-pound bulk, a 10-pound cut. When you are confident in the bulking process and you're not so mentally tethered to, I'm going to get fat, you can extend that to a 6-month bulk of 15 pounds or an 8-month bulk of 20 pounds. Now, you never want to outkick your coverage. What do I mean by that? You never want to bulk yourself into a position where you fear the cut. A 10-pound bulk and then a 10-pound cut is reasonable. Most of us sitting here today can say, I don't fear losing 10 pounds. I can knock that out. I don't fear that. Doing a 6-month bulk and then a 15, with a 15-pound gain. And let's say you gain some good mass. You decide you only want to lose 10 pounds or maybe 12 pounds. Not so bad. Let's say you still feel fluffy and you want to lose 15 pounds. You don't want to bulk so far or walk so far out that you fear the return. Are you hearing me? So bulking and cutting really has to do with your ability to nail a cut. How far out can you walk without A, getting unhealthy, and B, not fearing the return? Okay? So if you can nail a 20-pound cut, you can go out on a 20-pound bulk as long as you're not entering unhealthy weight gain. Does that make sense? So if you're 180 pounds and you want to spend the next 8 months, the rest of the year, like let's say you want to spend the rest of the year bulking and then go on a cut on January 1st, as long as you're confident that you can walk back this 15, 17, 18 pounds, you're good to go. Does that make sense? So however you structure things over the long run, if you are nailing your cuts, you're going to be in a bulk on average 10 plus months a year. On average, right? If you're going to bulk 20 pounds, there's a good chance you gain some muscle during that period of time, right? At least 5 pounds, at least you would hope in a year. If not, we got other things to assess. But if you gain 20 pounds on a bulk, you probably are only going to have to walk back 15. If you can't nail that 15-pound bulk in 2 months maximum, 15-pound cut in 2 months maximum, we probably have some things to fix, and you probably shouldn't be bulking for very long. So, however you are bulking on the average, it's probably going to shake out to you being in a bulk 10 months out of the year, unless you screw off and don't nail those cuts. Anthony, in a recent video, Dr. Mike said the overhead dumbbell press is better replaced by the incline dumbbell. No, I don't agree with that. It doesn't hit the shoulder muscles the same. Not at all. I mean, they're two different angle positions. The incline chest is at about 20 degrees, and the seated dumbbell press is at about 70 degrees. Dr. Mike aside, I want you guys to think about this, because I'm not trying to pick a fight with anybody. But do you, set aside the person making the comments, me and him, and let's just think of things from a physics standpoint. Okay, we have a spectrum. This is a flat bench, 0 degrees. This is an upright position, 90 degrees. If you are standing and pushing straight up at the 90-degree position, that's called a military press or an overhead press. If you're at a 0-degree position, this is a flat bench press or a flat dumbbell press. Do you believe that regardless of that angle from 0 to 90, that they're hitting all the muscles involved to the same degree? Do you believe that a flat bench is hitting the chest the same as a military press? Or is it a spectrum? They are hitting the same muscle groups: chest, front delts, side delts, rear delts, arms, triceps, whatever. They are hitting the muscle groups, but not equally. Certainly any pressing is going to hit the front delts and the side delts to a degree. They're going to hit the triceps to a degree. But just because something is hitting a muscle group doesn't mean they're hitting them equally. Do you believe a 0-degree angle on a bench press is hitting the chest and the delts the same way as 90 overhead? Do you believe that? I don't. I think it's nonsense. I think it's, for a lack of a better word, idiotic. It makes no sense. It's nonsensical, right? Now let's look at an incline dumbbell bench and a seated press. Incline dumbbell bench is at about 20 degrees, maybe 25. Do you believe an incline dumbbell bench is going to hit the chest the same as a 70-degree seated overhead press? Which one do you feel is going to be more chest focused? When I press out like this, I can feel my chest working right now. I can feel it pressing. When I press at a 70-degree overhead press, my chest is relaxed. Pretty much. There's some minor upper chest stretch, but if I'm at a 70-degree overhead press, my chest is not doing the same thing as it is here. Here, I can feel it engaged and fully contracted. So just because the same muscle groups are involved to a degree doesn't mean the degree is equal. Okay? If I'm doing a bench press, yes, I can feel my side delts working, but they're a minor player in the lift because that chest is really working hard. And those triceps and front delts are really working hard. If you look at an experienced lifter, a seasoned lifter with a big bench press, they're always going to have big front delts. So front delts are involved in the bench. They're not equal, folks. Regardless of who said this, and I don't want to make this commentary on any individual person, you decide. Do you believe they're equal? In no way are they equal. This makes no sense. Now, I didn't watch the video and I don't know the context, and that always gets us in trouble on YouTube. Because if I'm not seeing the video, there's a good chance somebody might have missed the context, and that's fair. But just analyzing the situation, regardless of the context, regardless of the person, they're not equal. In the massive iron world, what we try to do is hit a spectrum, okay? We try to hit the body from different angles, different movement patterns, different exercise variations. This is the shotgun approach. If you hit each muscle group and each, with a variety of angles and exercise types, dumbbells, barbells, machines, whatever, a variety of angles, bench press, flat, incline, a variety of movement patterns, maybe dips. If you hit a muscle group or an area with a variety of rep ranges, with a variety of movement types, dumbbell, barbell, machine, maybe even some minor variations of angles, that, in my opinion, is the holy grail of training. You're inherently building in not a ridiculous amount of variety, but a reasonable amount of volume, a reasonable amount of variety that is hitting muscles at all spectrums. So if you look at all the pressing you would do in a massive iron workout over the course of a week, you might do flat bench, you might do flat dumbbell bench or incline dumbbell bench, okay? You might do a barrel press, flat or incline. You might do a machine press, seated, whatever. So we have some spectrums and we have some variation of the spectrum, 0 to 25 degrees. And then we go up to the seated dumbbell overhead press and maybe the military press and overhead press, machine overhead press, and side laterals. We're getting in a wide variety of attack over this angle spectrum. Does this make sense? So we're not getting involved in the tomfoolery, the nonsensical discussion of this angle is great, this angle is bad. We are using common sense and attacking the body from all the angles, from all the movement patterns, without bloating our program. Does that make sense? You decide what you feel is best, what makes more sense. That's the way I do it. Sam, when on a slow bulk and your lifts are taking time to go up, how do you know you're okay? We covered this already. As long as the scale's going up, you know you're in a surplus. And Carlton said good morning to his McBean cousin at Scottish Fitness. Carl, I'm mentally over bulking, otherwise I'd keep going. Carl, I'm going to say this with love. I don't know who you are. It's okay to take time away from bulks. We don't have to constantly be in a bulk. Right? You can have periods of time where you're in maintenance. So that's perfectly fine. So, that aside, you've gotten over that period, okay? Do you want to continue to build muscle? Do you want to continue to build muscle? If so, then you need to do what it takes. There are many things we are over. If you don't like it, don't do it. But understand the consequences. You're over bulking, fine. Just know you're pretty much going to be over muscle building. I'm not being hard on you, my friend. That's the way it works. Have you ever been called out by a member of the fitness community and realized you were actually wrong? The only thing I can remember is Freaky D. Me and him, that's how we actually met. Somebody on a live came by and said, there's a bencher that's using linear periodization and got his bench up to 500. And on a live, it's easy to read something and read it the wrong way, or you could be tired or whatever. I read it as linear progression. So I read it as linear progression. Linear periodization and linear progression are two different things. Linear periodization is a periodization process, right? A structure, a system. Linear progression is adding weight every week. So in my brain, I read linear periodization as progression. And I said, there's no way somebody linearly progressed on their bench from 135 to 500. They would need to be the freak of all freaks. Well, somebody went back to Freaky D, and I'm like, I was wrong. I read it wrong. And I apologized to him. I made a video on this channel. That's the only time I can remember. I mean, there are things that people disagree with me about, and that's fine. But you know, I don't see Dr. Mike making a video about me. I don't see Nipples, Jeff Nippard, making a video about me. I disagree with a lot of his training philosophies. I disagree with a lot of what Dr. Mike says. I don't want to get involved in drama. I'm not trying to pick fights. I'm going to present my side, and you guys can do with what you want. If they want to make a video, call me an idiot for what I just talked about on the overhead press and the chest press, go ahead. I still believe it. You guys are still free to believe what you want. I'm not going to fight about it. It's only lifting. There have been many things I've changed over the years, not dramatic things. I think squats and deadlifts for beginners need to be worked on slowly. Because as a coach, what I've learned is that at least maybe 70% of people need a lot more work on squats and deadlifts than what you see on social media. And the problem with where we went through with this strong lift starting strength era, where we were forcing everybody to do these minimal programs focused on squats and deads, and they weren't making any damn progress. Oh yeah, I got stronger on it. That's great. But your form still sucks, friend. And your mind's so damn closed, you don't want to hear your form sucks. This is the way it goes. I'm just being real. I'm not trying to be critical. But you know how many times I've heard somebody say, I made good strength gains on strong lifts. That's great. But when I look at your form video, it sucks. And you're not getting a lot of quad activation out of your squats because your form sucks. And your deadlift, you look like a shitting cat. I don't care if you had 200 pounds on your deadlift if you look like a shitting cat. If you think you can do a shitting cat deadlift and you're getting a lot of growth out of it, you're just delusional. There's good form and there's rough form. So we went through this period of time where everybody worshipped strong lifts and starting strength. And now everybody's like, well, we were just doing it to build strength. We weren't doing it to build muscle. Every muscle builder I know was using those programs at a point in time. One thing I used to push the squats and deadlifts a lot for beginners myself. Now we do it more nuanced because I understand it takes time to learn these. We don't put as much of a focus on. So I've evolved my philosophies to a degree. Okay, we already did that one, covered that one. Sorry, that's a repeat. Once protein intake is met, what should I fill the rest of my calories with? Don't think of it like that. Well, let me think through this. You want to get in a wide variety of protein foods, eggs, protein sources, whatever. You also want to get in a variety of, if you're bulking, you probably want to get in some complex carbs, oatmeal, rice, potatoes, whatever. Then you want to get in some fruits and vegetables just for some micronutrient diversity. Between your meats and your carbs and everything, the carbs and fats should kind of take care of themselves. You could add in a little bit of dairy, sour cream, cheese, whatever, to bring up your calorie count and get your calcium up and just for food variety. But you want to think of it like, what are my protein foods I'm going to rely on? Eggs, beef, whatever. What are the fruits and veggies I like that I'm going to get in each week? When you talk about veggies, everybody runs to broccoli and cauliflower, carrots. I want you to think broader than that. Think plant-based. Onions. I love onions. I love jalapenos. think of like, what plant-based stuff do I like? Right? And fit that, I love tomatoes. They don't have to be broccoli and cauliflower. So pick at least 5 plant-based fruits and vegetables you like and try to get those in each week. Try to pick out a couple complex carb sources you like: oatmeal, potatoes, rice, whatever. And fill in the gaps with some higher fat foods if you need to get your calories up, like avocado, cheese, sour cream, nuts, that sort of thing. I thought live wasn't happening. My daughter's actually having surgery right now. She's in surgery. So I decided to do live. My daughter's having sinus surgery, which is routine, but she also has POTS. My daughter has a condition where her blood pressure will rise dramatically for no reason. And this week she had a very bad concussion and she's still having surgery. So with her medical situation, even a routine surgery is something you want to keep an eye on. So she's in surgery right now. Am I late? Nope, you're still here. Love is always happening or live. That's right. How would you go about building bigger arms? I feel like I'm extremely torso dominant. How would you go about building bigger arms on torso dominant? You mean like you're really dominant on doing your pressing and rows? You're going to have to get in probably 9 sets for triceps and biceps a week. Just get some good exercise variety in and above your pressing and pulling. Carl is KL on Team Massive. Good. There's so many names tossed around. Sometimes it's hard to remember who's who. At what point of body fat should you stop bulking? I have a friend who has okay muscle mass but is pudgy. Well, number one is, are you unhealthy? If you get above 240 as a male, you're kind of entering that unhealthy zone. Men above 240 enter the heart attack zone, whether they like to hear it or not. Your body carrying around all that extra weight stresses your heart. That's not opinion. That's from mortality statistics. Men over 240 tend to live about 7 years shorter, give or take. Below that, it's what you feel comfortable with. I'm not trying to be one of these modern men, do what feels good, healthy in any size. But some guys at 145 have a big mental burden if they get to 150. They feel fat, right? They carry around this depression. I'm fat, I gotta stop. Some guys walking around like 230, like, man, I feel good. Let's fight, man. Right? I feel like a brick shit house. I feel like a force of nature. So a lot of this is mental. Can you, by any chance, build an Arnold split live? I can do a video where I can if somebody wants to remind me. Could you get away with 80 grams of protein? Why would you? No, I would not recommend this. Number one, you're not getting in enough meat and eggs, which is going to make it harder to get in your micronutrients on a daily basis. Number two, why would you? Let's seek the normal range. That's unbalanced from a dietary standpoint. Number two, you're putting yourself in a deficit when it comes to nutrient intake, because regardless of all the hype, meat and eggs have a greater nutrient density. Do you cook your jalapenos in your meals? No, I usually toss them on cold. I usually pile the mountain on when I'm done. Celebrated man cold in the north. How's everything going? It's going good. I didn't start the Drunk American yet, but I did it for one client. So it shouldn't take long because it's a pretty simple adjustment. So just remind me. Aside from the big three, which lifts do you see people botch to form RDLs? Right at the top, because RDL is a misunderstood exercise even for experts and influencers, right? People think you just bend and lower the weight. It's how low you lower the weight. No. The point of an RDL is to load the hamstrings by moving the glutes back. You can allow the knees to bend a little bit to facilitate that hamstring stress. When you're doing the RDL, you want to keep the weight close to your body. That'll place less stress on your lower back. So in RDL, you're driving your glutes back, weight close to the body, trying to feel some stress. Not an extreme stretch on your hamstrings, but some stress placed on your hamstrings. You get in the stress reflex position. When the glutes stop moving back, you pop back up. Problem is, a lot of influencers and fitness people don't understand a RDL, and it is without a shadow of a doubt one of the biggest botched lifts. How many eggs is safe? As many as you want to eat. Right? You guys, we got to set aside all this anti-meat and eggs propaganda, because that's exactly what it is. You got to set that aside. You're not going to get bad cholesterol from eating eggs. You're going to ruin your health from eating crap food. Keep this perspective. There are people out there eating Doritos and ice cream and crap and crap and crap and crap and alcohol and crap. That's how you make yourself obese. That's how you make yourself unhealthy. Eggs are one of the best foods you can eat. Meat. Fill in the gaps. Just eat animal and plant-based. Simple as that. Why do people try to get away with what's the least amount? I don't know, and it drives me nuts. I'm going to be honest. I love you guys, but it drives me nuts. No successful person is out there going, what's the least I can do to be successful? That's toxic. Successful people don't. Now, it's not that successful people don't want to be efficient, but they're driven. They're not like, well, certainly I'd like to know the minimum amount of hours I can work a week and make $1 million, right? Be efficient. Being efficient is good. We want to be efficient with our training. But the problem is we get involved in all this dogmatic crap. Like Mike Menser said he only ate 40 grams. Yeah, Mike Menser also was a little bit borderline. And I don't really, it wasn't dietary balance. He wasn't even talking about the nutrient content of food, which he should have been, because this is more than just about grams of protein a day and what minimal we can get away with. What's the minimal amount of training I can become a mass muscle? I don't really know anybody doing that. Are you trying to get? The problem is we're trying to get around the mountain instead of conquering the mountain. I know online it says eating more. It says everything online. Let this stuff go, guys. It's not dangerous to eat more than 7 eggs a week, in my opinion. Guys, come on. The rest of the world's eating themselves to death. I want you guys to understand something. There's not a lot of profit in meat and eggs. There's not a lot of profit in meat and eggs. And I'm not trying to get political, but I'm being real here with you. There are 10 food companies out there that own, I think it's 10, that own basically everything. Frito-Lay owns Pepsi, owns KFC. They make the meals and the drinks and everything you see. 90% of the food's on the shelf. And all the fast food are owned by these big conglomerate corporations. And they're after profit. There are 2 things that aren't very profitable, I can tell you that, and it's meat and eggs. There is a war being waged on meat and eggs by certain sects of these food companies because they're not profitable. You have to do your research. This isn't some conspiracy theory bullshit. These people and all their money have their hands in politicians and in scientific studies, and we just have to know that. People are dying because of abusing fast food and junk food. And we have placed fear of eating meat and eggs into the community mind of our people. This is a crime. This is criminal. If you take care of yourself and you eat these wonderful foods, these animal and plant-based foods, you are going to be healthy. If you don't exercise and you're a Dorito eating fat ass, and yes, I said it, you're going to be unhealthy. That doesn't mean we can't eat some Doritos. We can't drink some scotch. But let's be smarter. Let's use common sense. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to fear the cholesterol in foods. If we're being healthy, everything is okay. Cholesterol is not the enemy. Your body produces far more bad cholesterol than you could ever eat. No, I've never tried peri-peri. In fact, I don't even know what it is. I've eaten 11 to 12 eggs per day for 3 years. I have no doubt. Do you think you need to be a little selfish and compulsive? I wouldn't say selfish. I think this is a good question. This is a good question. I think sometimes people tend to be people pleasers too much. We have to be about what we are and not try to bend for people. That doesn't mean we need to be assholes. But when I'm at a restaurant, no, I don't want the dessert. If grandma makes you dessert, you better take a bite of it and respect that, right? You better take a little bit and show some respect. That's just being a good person. But there's nothing wrong with taking care of ourselves in the way we want to take care of ourselves. We can fear what other people think about it a lot, and that's human nature. I wouldn't call that bad selfish. I see in coaching too many people that bend to accommodate, and they just continue to abuse themselves. Can body weight exercise be done every day without? I mean, it depends on the degree. I mean, you want to be recovered going into, you don't want lat fatigue going into deadlifts, because then your CNS, you risk it kind of being a little bit wonky and the weight feeling a little bit heavier. You don't want triceps and chest fatigue going into your pressing. So there has to be some balance and interplay here. Does that make sense? Big Sam, if you're on an intermediate and have to train 7 days a week, what split would you? Okay, so Sam, why? I'm just asking, why do you have to train 7 days a week? I'm not trying to be confrontational, but I'm going to hang up on that word. Want to? Like you can use any split. It's just all about rotating. We have to look at things in terms of weekly volume, no matter what our program is. So we want to set up weekly volume, right? And this is something I talk about a lot on this channel. We want to set up weekly volume per body part. And then it doesn't matter what split you use. Body part split, AB, push-pull arms, legs. It doesn't matter. It's the weekly volume. You have to determine the split you like, and then you put it in you put the weekly volume into the split. Does that make sense? If you're going to train more often, you can bump the weekly volume a little bit. First time here. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in, Ryan. Rec, there's always an exception, always an individual situation where something is good as bad, but we can't apply individual recommendations on a population scale. Common sense works. Absolutely. And we have to be more about common sense. Let's be real. We live in an era where we're being almost trained to be reactionary. And we have to use common sense. Use common sense when it comes to food, right? Don't search extremes. Don't seek after extremes. Health markers on a blood test doesn't say nothing about your arteries. That's a double negative. Doesn't say anything about your arteries. No offense. All right. It certainly can, Anthony. You're being a little bit ridiculous here, and you're being a little bit black and white. No offense. All right, guys, that's it. We are an hour and 46 minutes in. We're all done. I appreciate you guys being here. Just a reminder, I have some coaching spots open. I'd love to work with you. If you're interested, please head over to superlivingtoday.com. Check out the coaching tab and check that out. We also have Team Massive Iron. Team Massive Iron, please come join our community. And if you're not following me on Instagram, I'd love to connect with you. Please connect with me. Please connect with me. I love you guys. I love each and every one of you. And we just ended on a crazy thing, did we? You can't talk about eggs without fighting food, without people fighting. We're not here about that. We're not here to make enemies over small things. We're here to build each other up, lift each other up. And I'm just going to tell you, though, you bring bullshit to the game, I'm going to sling it right back at you. I don't have a horse in any race. But you're going to come after me with double negatives. You're going to come after me with bad logic. I'm going to call you out on it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great damn weekend.
It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.